Stop scrolling. Dive into the inspiring stories of the prophets with us. Volume 4, Book 55, number 629, narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. Allah's apostle was informed that I have said, "By Allah I will fast all the days and pray all the nights as long as I live." On that Allah's apostle asked me, "Are you the one who says, 'I will fast all the days and pray all the nights as long as I live'?" I said, "Yes, I have said it." He said, "You cannot do that. So fast, sometimes, and do not fast, sometimes. Pray and sleep. Fast for 3 days a month, for the reward of a good deed is multiplied by 10 times, and so the fasting of 3 days a month equals the fasting of a year." I said, "O Allah's apostle, I can do fast more than this." He said, "Fast on every third day." I said, "I can do fast more than that." He said, "Fast on alternate days, and this was the fasting of David, which is the most moderate sort of fasting." I said, "O Allah's apostle, I can do fast more than that." He said, "There is nothing better than that." Volume 4, Book 55, number 630, narrated by Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As. The Prophet said to me, "I have been informed that you pray all the nights and observe fast all the days. Is this true?" I replied, "Yes." He said, "If you do so, your eyes will become weak and you will get bored. So fast 3 days a month, for this will be the fasting of a whole year, or equal to the fasting of a whole year." I said, "I find myself able to fast more." He said, "Then fast like the fasting of the prophet David, who used to fast on alternate days and would not flee on facing the enemy." Volume 4, Book 55, number 631, narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. Allah's apostle said to me, "The most beloved fasting to Allah was the fasting of the prophet David, who used to fast on alternate days. And the most beloved prayer to Allah was the prayer of David, who used to sleep for the first half of the night, and pray for 1/3 of it, and again sleep for 1/6 of it." Volume 4, Book 55, number 632, narrated by Mujahid. I asked Ibn Abbas, "Should we perform a prostration on reciting Surat Sa'd?" He recited the surah, including, "And among his progeny, David, Solomon, up to," so follow their guidance, 6.84-91, and then he said, "Your prophet is amongst those people who have been ordered to follow them, the preceding apostles." Volume 4, Book 55, number 633, narrated by Ibn Abbas. The prostration in Surah Sa'd is not amongst the compulsory prostrations, though I saw the Prophet prostrating on reciting the statement of Allah, "And to David we gave Solomon, for a son, how excellent a slave he was ever oft returning in repentance, to us," 38.30. And his statement, he said, "My Lord forgive me and grant me a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me," 38.35. And his statement, "And they followed what the devils gave out, falsely, of magic in the lifetime of Solomon," 2.102, Volume 4, Book 55, number 634, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "A strong demon from the jinns came to me yesterday suddenly so as to spoil my prayer, but Allah enabled me to overpower him, and so I caught him and intended to tie him to one of the pillars of the mosque so that all of you might see him. But I remembered the invocation of my brother Solomon, and grant me a kingdom such as shall not belong to any other after me," 38.35, so I let him go, cursed. Volume 4, Book 55, number 635, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "Solomon, the son of David, said, 'Tonight I will sleep with 70 ladies, each of whom will conceive a child who will be a knight, fighting for Allah's cause.' His companion said, 'If Allah will.' But Solomon did not say so. Therefore none of those women got pregnant except one who gave birth to a half-child. The Prophet further said, 'If the Prophet Solomon had said it, that is, if Allah will, he would have begotten children who would have fought in Allah's cause.' Shuaib and Ibn Abi Az-Zinad said, 90 women is more correct than 70. Volume 4, Book 55, number 636, narrated by Abu Dar. I said, "O Allah's apostle, which mosque was built first?" He replied, "Al-Masjid ul-Haram." I asked, "Which was built next?" He replied, "Al-Masjid ul-Aqsa, that is Jerusalem." I asked, "What was the period in between them?" He replied, 40 years. He then added, "Wherever the time for the prayer comes upon you, perform the prayer, for all the earth is a place of worshipping for you." Volume 4, Book 55, number 637, narrated by Abu Huraira. Allah's apostle said, "My example and the example of the people is like that of a person who lit a fire and let the moths, butterflies, and these insects fall in it." He also said, "There were 2 women, each of whom had a child with her. A wolf came and took away the child of one of them. whereupon the other said, "It has taken your child." The first said, "But it has taken your child." So they both carried the case before David, who judged that the living child be given to the elder lady. So both of them went to Solomon bin David and informed him of the case. He said, "Bring me a knife so as to cut the child into 2 pieces and distribute it between them." The younger lady said, "May Allah be merciful to you, don't do that, for it is her, that is the other lady's child." So he gave the child to the younger lady. Volume 4, Book 55, number 638, narrated by Abdullah, when the verse, "Those who believe and mix not their belief with wrong," was revealed, the companions of the Prophet said, "Who amongst us has not mixed his belief with wrong?" Then Allah revealed, "Join none in worship with Allah, verily joining others in worship with Allah is a great wrong indeed." Volume 4, Book 55, number 639, narrated by Abdullah, when the verse, "Those who believe and mix not their belief with wrong," was revealed, the Muslims felt it very hard on them and said, "O Allah's Apostle, who amongst us does not do wrong to himself?" He replied, "The verse does not mean this, but that wrong means to associate others in worship to Allah. Don't you listen to what Luqman said to his son when he was advising him, 'O my son, join not others in worship with Allah. Verily joining others in worship with Allah is a great wrong indeed.'" 31.13, Volume 4, Book 55, number 640, narrated by Malik bin Sasa, that the Prophet talked to them about the night of his ascension to the heavens. He said, "Then Gabriel took me, and ascended up till he reached the 2nd heaven, where he asked for the gate to be opened. But it was asked, 'Who is it?' Gabriel replied, 'I am Gabriel.' It was asked, 'Who is accompanying you?' He replied, 'Muhammad.' It was asked, 'Has he been called?' He said, 'Yes.' When we reached over the 2nd heaven, I saw Yahya, that is John, and Jesus, who were cousins. Gabriel said, 'These are John, Yahya, and Jesus, so greet them.' I greeted them, and they returned the greeting, saying, 'Welcome, O pious brother and pious prophet.'" Volume 4, Book 55, number 641, narrated by Sa'id bin al-Musayyab. Abu Huraira said, "I heard Allah's Apostle saying, 'There is none born among the offspring of Adam, but Satan touches it. A child therefore cries loudly at the time of birth because of the touch of Satan, except Mary and her child.'" Then Abu Huraira recited, "And I seek refuge with you for her and for her offspring from the outcast Satan." 3.36. Volume 4, Book 55, number 642, narrated by Ali. I heard the Prophet saying, "Mary, the daughter of Imran, was the best among the women of the world of her time, and Khadijah is the best amongst the women of this nation." Volume 4, Book 55, number 643, narrated by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. The Prophet said, "The superiority of Aisha to other ladies is like the superiority of tharid, that is meat and bread dish, to other meals. Many men reached the level of perfection, but no woman reached such a level except Mary, the daughter of Imran, and Asia, the wife of Pharaoh." Narrated Abu Huraira. I heard Allah's Apostle saying, "Amongst all those women who ride camels, that is Arabs, the ladies of Quraysh are the best. They are merciful and kind to their offspring and the best guardians of their husbands' properties." Abu Huraira added, "Mary, the daughter of Imran, never rode a camel." Volume 4, Book 55, number 644, narrated by Ubadah. The Prophet said, "If anyone testifies that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah alone, who has no partners, and that Muhammad is his slave and his apostle, and that Jesus is Allah's slave and his apostle and his word which he bestowed on Mary and a spirit created by him, and that paradise is true and hell is true, Allah will admit him into paradise with the deeds which he had done, even if those deeds were few." Junada, the sub-narrator, said, Ubadah added, "Such a person can enter paradise through any of its 8 gates he likes." Volume 4, Book 55, number 645, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "None spoke in cradle but 3. The first was Jesus, the second was, there a man from Bani Israel called Juraj. While he was offering his prayers, his mother came and called him. He said to himself, 'Shall I answer her or keep on praying?' He went on praying, and did not answer her. His mother said, 'O Allah, do not let him die till he sees the faces of prostitutes.' So while he was in his hermitage, a lady came and sought to seduce him, but he refused. So she went to a shepherd and presented herself to him to commit illegal sexual intercourse with her, and then, later she gave birth to a child and claimed that it belonged to Juraj. The people therefore came to him and dismantled his hermitage and expelled him out of it and abused him. Juraj performed the ablution and offered prayer and then came to the child and said, "O child, who is your father?" The child replied, "The shepherd." After hearing this, the people said, "We shall rebuild your hermitage of gold." But he said, "No, of nothing but mud." The third was the hero of the following story. A lady from Bani Israel was nursing her child at her breast. When a handsome rider passed by her, she said, "O Allah, make my child like him." On that the child left her breast and facing the rider said, "O Allah, do not make me like him." The child then started to suck her breast again. Abu Huraira further said, "As if I were now looking at the Prophet sucking his finger, in way of demonstration." After a while the people passed by with a lady slave and she, that is the child's mother, said, "O Allah, do not make my child like this, slave girl." On that the child left her breast and said, "O Allah, make me like her." When she asked why, the child replied, "The rider is one of the tyrants while this slave girl is falsely accused of theft and illegal sexual intercourse." Volume 4, Book 55, number 646, narrated by Hisham from Mamar as below. Volume 4, Book 55, number 647, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "I met Moses on the night of my ascension to heaven." The Prophet then described him saying, as I think, he was a tall person with lank hair as if he belonged to the people of the tribe of Shanus. The Prophet further said, "I met Jesus." The Prophet described him saying, he was one of moderate height and was red-faced as if he had just come out of a bathroom. I saw Abraham whom I resembled more than any of his children did. The Prophet further said, "That night, I was given 2 cups, one full of milk and the other full of wine. I was asked to take either of them which I liked, and I took the milk and drank it. On that it was said to me, 'You have taken the right path, religion. If you had taken the wine, your Muslim nation would have gone astray.'" Volume 4, Book 55, number 648, narrated by Ibn Umar. The Prophet said, "I saw Moses, Jesus and Abraham, on the night of my ascension to the heavens. Jesus was of red complexion, curly hair and a broad chest. Moses was of brown complexion, straight hair and tall stature as if he was from the people of Az-Zut." Volume 4, Book 55, number 649, narrated by Abdullah. The Prophet mentioned the Messiah Ad-Dajjal in front of the people saying, "Allah is not one-eyed while Messiah Ad-Dajjal is blind in the right eye, and his eye looks like a bulging out grape." While sleeping near the Kaaba last night, I saw in my dream a man of brown color, the best one can see amongst brown color, and his hair was long that it fell between his shoulders. His hair was lank, and water was dribbling from his head, and he was placing his hands on the shoulders of 2 men while circumambulating the Kaaba. I asked, "Who is this?" They replied, "This is Jesus, son of Mary." Behind him I saw a man who had very curly hair and was blind in the right eye, resembling Ibn Qatan, that is an infidel, in appearance. He was placing his hands on the shoulders of a person while performing tawaf around the Kaaba. I asked, "Who is this?" They replied, "The Masih ad-Dajjal." Volume 4, Book 55, number 650, narrated by Salim from his father. "No, by Allah, the Prophet did not tell that Jesus was of red complexion but said, 'While I was asleep circumambulating the Kaaba, in my dream, suddenly I saw a man of brown complexion and lank hair walking between 2 men, and water was dropping from his head.' I asked, 'Who is this?' The people said, 'He is the son of Mary.' Then I looked behind and I saw a red-complexioned, fat, curly-haired man, blind in the right eye which looked like a bulging-out grape. I asked, 'Who is this?' They replied, 'He is Ad-Dajjal.' The one who resembled to him among the people was Ibn Qatar. Az-Zuhri said, he, that is Ibn Qatan, was a man from the tribe Khuza'ah who died in the pre-Islamic period. Volume 4, Book 55, number 651, narrated by Abu Huraira. I heard Allah's apostle saying, "I am the nearest of all the people to the son of Mary, and all the prophets are paternal brothers, and there has been no prophet between me and him, that is Jesus." Volume 4, Book 55, number 652, narrated by Abu Huraira. Allah's apostle said, "Both in this world and in the hereafter I am the nearest of all the people to Jesus, the son of Mary. The prophets are paternal brothers, their mothers are different, but their religion is one." Volume 4, Book 55, number 653, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said Jesus, seeing a man stealing, asked him, "Did you steal?" He said, "No, by Allah, except whom there is none who has the right to be worshipped." Jesus said, "I believe in Allah and suspect my eyes." Volume 4, Book 55, number 654, narrated by Umar. I heard the prophet saying, "Do not exaggerate in praising me as the Christians praise the Son of Mary, for I'm only a slave, so call me the slave of Allah and his apostle." Volume 4, Book 55, number 655, narrated by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Allah's apostle said, "If a person teaches his slave girl good manners properly, educates her properly, and then manumits and marries her, he will get a double reward. And if a man believes in Jesus and then believes in me, he will get a double reward. And if a slave fears his Lord, that is Allah, and obeys his masters, he too will get a double reward." Volume 4, Book 55, number 656, narrated by Ibn Abbas. Allah's apostle said, "You will be resurrected and assembled, barefooted, naked, and uncircumcised." The prophet then recited the divine verse. "As we began the first creation, we shall repeat it, a promise we have undertaken. Truly we shall do it." 21.104. He added, "The first to be dressed will be Abraham. Then some of my companions will take to the right and to the left. I will say, 'My companions.' It will be said, 'They had been renegades since you left them.' I will then say what the pious slave Jesus, the son of Mary, said, 'And I was a witness over them while I dwelt amongst them. When you did take me up, you were the watcher over them, and you are a witness to all things. If you punish them, they are your slaves, and if you forgive them, you, only you, are the Almighty, the All-Wise." 5.117-118, narrated Quaggas. "Those were the apostates who renegade from Islam during the caliphate of Abu Bakr who fought them." Volume 4, Book 55, number 657, narrated by Abu Huraira. Allah's apostle said, "By him in whose hands my soul is, surely Jesus, the son of Mary, will soon descend amongst you and will judge mankind justly as a just ruler. He will break the cross and kill the pigs, and there will be no jizya, that is taxation taken from non-Muslims. Money will be in abundance so that nobody will accept it, and a single prostration to Allah in prayer will be better than the whole world and whatever is in it." Abu Huraira added, "If you wish you can recite this verse of the Holy Book. And there is none of the people of the Scriptures, Jews and Christians, but must believe in him, i.e. Jesus as an apostle of Allah and a human being before his death, and on the day of judgment he will be a witness against them." 4.159, see Fateh al-Bari, page 302, vol. 7, volume 4, book 55, number 658, narrated by Abu Huraira. Allah's apostle said, "How will you be when the Son of Mary, that is Jesus, descends amongst you, and he will judge people by the law of the Quran, and not by the law of gospel?" Fateh al-Bari, page 304 and 305, vol. 7. Stay tuned for more inspiring tales in our next episode.